I'm Mike Waring, alias the Falcon. There's one thing you learn working for Uncle Sam. There's no such thing as an easy buck. There are 6 possible ways to roll a 7, and it's amazing how they never seem to come up at the right time. Oh, sure, every once in a while someone hits the jackpot. The odds are all against you. But that doesn't stop people from trying. It's human nature to gamble. And operators of plush gambling casinos like Walter Cahill know more about human beings than the average psychiatrist, and more about percentages than a statistician. Yes, Mr. Cahill sure knows his figures.
Are my legs on backwards?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was staring. How are you coming with the figures?
I'll have a total for you in a few minutes now.
You know, I've been thinking, Margot, how long you been here?
6 weeks.
6 weeks? What do I know about you?
Well, if you're dissatisfied with my work, Mr. Cahill.
Oh, no. I don't know anything about your personal affairs.
Well, what do you want to know?
Where are you from? Where's your family? Have you got a boyfriend?
Well, where would you like to have me start?
My last question. That's the one that really interests me. Margot, I'm crazy about you. Couldn't you see it? From the time you first walked in here and asked for a job.
Mr. Cahill, please.
You can write your own ticket. Anything you say, just name it. Ask anybody about Walter Cahill.
What about us? Sorry, Mr. Cahill. I guess we should have knocked.
Who are you?
My name is Mackenzie. This is Mr. Russell.
Well, names don't mean a thing to me.
No, I'm not surprised.
Oh, you guys with the Treasury Department, huh? What do you want of me? What's this?
It's a search warrant. It gives us the authority to seize all records and evidence on the premises.
Are you guys crazy?
No, but you must have been to think you could shortchange Uncle Sam on your income tax.
I paid mine.
Yes, but you didn't give us an honest accounting. You can't just pick a number out of a hat.
Not very ethical, Mr. Cahill.
I declared every dime I made.
We have reason to believe otherwise. Now, where do you keep your records, please?
Look, Mr.
Mac. Everybody calls me Mac.
Well, Mac,
Your accounting records, Mr. Cahill, please.
I don't think he's going to be very cooperative, Mac. I guess we better look for them ourselves.
Wait a minute. What do you guys think you're doing?
Why don't you read that warrant, Mr. Cahill? That authorizes a complete search and seizure.
Okay, you win.
Uncle Sam usually does.
Margot, open the safe for him, will you?
Well, what do you know? What won't they think of next?
Don't be nervous, miss. We're not going to bite you. That's fine. We'll take it from there. Yeah, that's it.
Leave that alone.
Why, what is it?
None of your business.
Mr. Cahill, we're federal employees. We've asked you a civil question.
It's just some personal papers.
Mind if I check them?
I most certainly do.
Sorry. Personal papers, huh?
I can explain that.
Save that for my chief.
Your chief?
Mike Waring, the Falcon. Surely you've heard of the Falcon. Look at this, Tony. Did you ever see so many brand new $100 bills in your life?
Never.
How much is in here?
There's a notation on the outside.
$186,000 in cash. Write him out a receipt.
Receipt? Just a minute. You're not going to take that money with you.
You better take another look at that warrant, Mr. Cahill. It orders us to bring in all the evidence.
I paid taxes on that money.
Then what are you worried about? You'll get us back.
You won't get away with this. What's the name of your boss again?
Mr. Mike Waring.
Real pleasure knowing you folks. Sorry it had to be under these circumstances. Oh, Mr. Cahill, we'll be seeing you shortly.
Cahill?
That's right.
I'm Mike Waring. I was told you were waiting for me.
Yeah, since 2 o'clock.
I'm sorry, but I was jammed up. Now, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? You ought to know. You took my books and my money, and then you act as if...
Now, wait a minute.
Don't tell me to wait a minute. I've been waiting for 2 hours. I want my dough back.
What dough are you talking about?
The $186,000 your guys took out of my safe. They had absolutely no right to take that.
Look, when did all this take place?
About 1:15.
What were the names of the officers?
Well, one of the guys' name was Mackenzie. The other, I think, was Russell.
Excuse me a minute. Hello, Larry. Do we have a Mackenzie or a Russell on the staff?
Mackenzie and Russell? No, sir.
Look, Larry, you sure?
I'm positive. So there's a McIntyre in Reno.
No, I want a Mackenzie.
What does that mean?
Just what it sounded like. Those two boys were phonies.
I don't believe it.
You heard what he said. There's no Mackenzie working out of this office.
But they showed me their credentials.
Obviously manufactured for the occasion.
They walked off with my dough.
We'll try to get it back.
Mr. Waring, you don't seem to understand. $186,000 was involved.
We'll still try to do our best. Will you have a chair, please? Now, give me a description of these men, and we'll get right to work on it.
Well, one of the guys, Mackenzie, I think it was, about my size. Dark hair, pretty well dressed.
What about his age?
Oh, I'd say 45, 46.
An hour later, we had the description on the ticker. It went all over the country.
What do you want to do with these record books?
Just put them back in the briefcase. I'll ditch them later.
All right. Finish counting it?
Yes, sirree, Bob.
How much is there?
Just like what the man said. $186,000.
What's this for?
That, Tiny, my boy, is all yours.
Thanks, but where's the rest of it?
The rest?
Yeah, you don't think you're going to pay me off with a lousy couple $100, do you?
Oh, wait a minute.
You said we were going to split 50-50.
No, remember my exact words, bucko. I said after expenses.
What kind of expenses did you have?
Well, first of all, I've got a partner.
What?
I told you there was another guy in this deal. And between my partner and myself, well, let's figure a minute. 5/8 is 40 by 7. Well, we spent real close to $186,000.
On what?
Telephone calls and incidentals. You don't know how those incidentals can mount up.
Just what do you think you're doing? If you got any ideas about crossing me, you can forget them.
Oh, Tiny. Put that away, kid. Don't you know when you're being ribbed?
Don't make me laugh. Okay, Mac. Start explaining.
Tiny, if I were really going to do this, seriously, I wouldn't go about it like that.
No?
Of course not. You're a fellow's got to be handled like so. No. No, drop it.
All right, let go of my arm.
You lie, Trump. One thing I can't stand, it's a lie. You tell the truth, you got to take the consequences.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to Mike Waring, please.
You are now.
You don't know me, Mr. Waring.
And I can't hear you very well either. Who is this?
Never you mind.
Well, now, how do you spell that?
Look, Waring, I'm not clowning. How'd you like to latch onto the guy who grabbed Cahill's dough?
I'd love to. Where can I find him?
That'd be telling.
Well, isn't this why you called me?
I'm not talking for my health. I want $5,000.
Larry, trace this call. Oh, now, look, friend, the government hasn't authorized a reward.
Why don't you talk to Mr. Cahill about it? He might figure it was a pretty good bet. After all, it isn't every day you gamble $5,000 and pick up 186. I'll get back to you later.
It looks like a sellout to me, Cahill. The character who called me was probably one of the Rover boys who braced you.
What makes you think so?
Poor For one thing, he knew the exact amount of the heist.
That doesn't mean anything. How do you figure it's a sellout?
Well, they offered to finger his buddy for $5,000, and that's peanuts compared to the amount of money they took from you. No, he wouldn't stick his neck out unless he needed it.
Makes sense.
What do you want me to tell him when he calls back?
I'm not interested.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Cahill. I don't understand you.
What's to understand? I don't believe this guy.
Well, isn't it worth following it up to get your money back?
No, not to me.
Well, you're supposed to be a gambler.
That's why I play only the sure things. I haven't got anything to worry about. I'm covered by insurance.
Yeah, but no policy can stop making you look like what you hate the worst. A chump.
So?
So this whole thing is out of character. Look, what's your real reason for not wanting to find the guys who made you look real bad?
You seem to know all the answers. What's your guess?
Well, there could be two reasons. Number one, you may figure to take care of Mackenzie and Russell in your own way, which I don't advise.
Or?
Or the thought may have occurred to you that they had some pretty good information. And incidentally, how come they knew there was so much money in that safe?
That's not unusual in Vegas.
Oh, sure, I know, but all you big operators make daily deposits. That money'd been around for quite a while. About 3 months, wasn't it?
What are you driving at?
Look, Mackenzie or Russell were either lucky or they had themselves a partner. How long has that girl been working for you?
What girl?
Oh, you know who I mean. That secretary of yours. What's her name again?
Margot Riley?
How long's she been with you?
Quite a while.
This is like pulling teeth. What do you mean by quite a while?
I don't know exactly, but she's been here long enough. I'll bet you any amount of dough you want that she never saw those two phonies before they walked in here yesterday.
Well, you're certainly being a martyr over someone who might have cost you a bundle.
I told you it's not going to cost me a dime. I'm covered.
And I have an idea, even if you weren't, you'd still protect her. You kind of go for that girl, don't you?
Why don't you concentrate on trying to find those two punks instead of dreaming up a lot of... Yeah? Who? Just a second. It's for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, yes, Larry. Uh-huh. No, you drop everything and stick with it. That's right, I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Yeah. One of my boys. They've traced him to the Shamrock Motel. Would you care to join us?
No, thanks.
Suit yourself.
Who is it?
The manager, I brought you some towels. Nice job of acting, huh, kid? But I always said it. Stage lost a great talent when I decided to go in for larceny.
What do you want?
I've been thinking it over, Tiny. I decided you got a raw deal.
Well, you can say that again.
All right. Been thinking it over, Tiny, and I decided...
Don't be so funny.
No, I'm serious, kid. You got a legitimate gripe. Why do you think I came back?
I don't know, and I care less. Now beat it.
Oh, now, kid, if you're going to talk to me like that...
Hey, wait a minute. You don't think I'd rat on you, do you? You know me better than that, Mac. I swear in my mother's...
Death came for Tiny Russell. I arrived some 20 minutes later. I went through all the formalities for all the good it did me. Then I put in a call for the local authorities. They asked me to hang around, but I begged off. I had other fish to fry. Hello, Angel.
What do you want, and how did you get in here?
Oh, I could say that the door was open.
Yes, but you'd be lying.
Actually, I used these.
By what right can you break into
I'm
my
sure you've seen a
apartment?
warrant before, haven't you? This one's legal. My name's Mike Waring.
Well, I wish I could say that this was a pleasure, but, exactly what do you want, Mr. Waring?
Oh, just a little information, Margot. I can call you Margot, can't I?
The name is Miss Riley.
Oh? Well, that's funny. I'd have swore I'd seen a wedding band on that hand until recently.
Get to the point.
Tell me about the man in your life. Oh, come on. I'm a good listener.
Well, if that's all you came here for...
Frankly, no. I came here for another reason. We found the body of a man who called himself Tiny Russell. He was murdered.
Well?
Well, I thought you might have some idea who killed him.
You're the detective.
I know, but I wanted your opinion. How about your boss as a suspect? Oh, you don't like that theory either? Well, try this one on for size. I have a hunch that heist was an inside job. Now, you claim you never saw Mackenzie or Russell.
That's right.
Are you sure? Couldn't you have met them somewhere in a...
Get out.
Okay. Suit yourself, Angel. You're going to have to answer these questions sooner or later. This is a lot cozier than police headquarters. Tell me, how can you afford an apartment like this on your salary?
Are you going to get out of here?
Put that down. Nice girls don't throw.
Now are you going to get out of here?
I'm sorry I got under your skin, Angel. But you came pretty close to getting under mine. That makes us even. Maybe I didn't act like a gentleman, but it's awfully tough when you're dealing with murder. And I was convinced Margot Riley knew a lot more than she was telling. So I went back to the office where the reports on Russell and Mackenzie had started to come in. Russell was a two-time loser. He had served 5 to 10 in Atlanta for attempted mail fraud. That's where he met Mackenzie. And the more I studied the reports, the more I was convinced that someone else was in on the picture. Neither of the boys had ever been mixed up in anything as big as the Cahill job before. And it was a cinch Tiny never would again. Then I decided to drive out to the motel again where we found Tiny's body. I didn't quite make it. 5 miles out on Route 66, I suddenly discovered I had company. He was a big bruiser, and I don't know what he needed the gun for. He ordered me to turn around and head back for town. It wasn't long before we hit the Las Vegas Strip. 20 minutes later, he ushered me into his hotel room. You didn't have to be a detective to see he wasn't neat.
All right, fella. Sit down. I said sit down. Now, you and I are going to have a nice, long talk.
Well, why didn't you say so in the first place? I would have been delighted. I don't think I caught your name, Mr.
I don't believe I dropped it.
Oh, that's all right. Any friend of Mackenzie's and Russell's is a friend of mine.
Come again?
The two boys had swung with $186,000 of Walter Cahill's loot.
Seems to me I heard something about that.
Did you also hear that one of them had been murdered?
Can't say as I have.
He was the one that was called Well, I must say, that's not a very good likeness.
Put that down.
To Bill, my big lug with all my love, Margot. According to this inscription, you must be Bill Murphy. To Bill, my big lug.
You've been hanging around her apartment.
Well, certainly I couldn't stay away. She's a real man killer.
Now, what do you mean by that, Crack?
Looks like you and Cahill have similar tastes. I don't blame you, Murph.
I asked you a question, mister.
Tell me, which one of you two are the chump?
Cut it off! Take it back. Cut it off! Help me, I'll kill you unless you take that back up.
Yeah?
Is that you, Murph?
Who's this?
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie?
What's the matter with you? You sound a little foggy.
You woke me up.
All right, listen to me.
We got to lay low for a while. They identified Tiny's body.
So?
So I told you we shouldn't have knocked him off. But you won't listen, no. You know everything.
All right, so I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of good that does now. Look,
I'm going down to Los Angeles and from there to Mexico. Now, do you want to join me?
What do you think?
All right. I'll pick you up at 11:30. And have the dough ready. I don't want to be kept hanging around.
You bet.
Waring, what the devil happened to you?
Well, it might be better to ask what didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Miss Riley, Mr. Cahill, Larry Cabrini of our local office.
How do you do?
Hi, you look awful.
Well, I'm not surprised. I just tangled with a guy by the name of Bill Murphy. What's the matter, Angel?
Nothing.
I thought that name might mean something to you.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't.
Well, that's funny. I had an idea you knew him real well. He had a photograph of you taken in Austin, Texas. I called the photographer. He was a barrel of information. Told me all about you and Mr. Murphy. Said you were husband and wife.
Margot, is that true?
Yes, but I'm getting a divorce. Why do you think I came here to Nevada?
That's what I'm wondering. How come Murphy followed you here?
I have no idea.
Well, I have several. All right, Larry.
What are you doing?
Sorry, Miss Riley. You have to come down to the office.
Go ahead, Larry.
You can't do that.
Oh, yes, we can.
Don't you worry, honey. I'll have you out in 15 minutes. Now, look here, Waring.
No, you look. I've got a chance to wrap this case up, and you're not going to ruin it by springing that girl. I've got a tip that Mackenzie is going to pay a little visit on Murphy tonight at 11:30. I plan to have a reception committee waiting for him.
Where do I fit in?
You? Well, you paid for this party, so I elect you chairman. Shall we?
Sure that tip you had was legitimate? It's 1:30. He asked me, a tipster didn't know what he was talking about.
You might be right.
All that dope you had on Margot might have come from the same source. Well, you'll never get me to believe that she was working with those guys.
You really go for her, don't you? Look, Cahill, you're going to have to face the fact. Someone's coming. Hold it. Now turn around.
This guy's not Mackenzie.
No, it's Mr. Murphy.
Don't fret yourself, man. I'm clean.
I'd like to find these things out for myself. Sit down. What's the matter? Couldn't you stay away from Margot? Maybe I don't blame you if I had a girl like that. Hold it. One of these days, that temper of yours is going to get you into trouble. No wonder Margot wanted a divorce.
Ask him about Mackenzie.
It's not a bad idea. What do you know about Mackenzie?
Better talk, fella. Mackenzie spilled everything. He thought Waring was you.
Sounds incredible, doesn't it? You with that southern accent. How do you figure Mac could make such a mistake? How do you figure Mr. Cahill knew all about it?
Huh? What are you talking about?
All I told you was that I got a tip. How did you know the tip came from Mackenzie if you weren't standing by his elbow when he made the call?
I don't get you.
Mackenzie was working for you. You hired him, and he hired Russell.
That's real funny. Now all you got to do is dig up a motive.
It's very simple. You wanted to have your cake and eat it, too. Why, you even told me yourself about your insurance coverage. I guess you felt that we'd run across it sooner or later.
Aren't you forgetting Margot?
She was just an innocent bystander. She was your insurance witness. Only somewhere along the line, you got business mixed up with pleasure. You got a real yen for her, haven't you? You knew that Margot came here to divorce Murphy, and that he followed her. You thought it would be lovely to make him the goat, and you'd be in the clear with Margot and all that lovely money. You had Mackenzie phone me to frame him. Only Mac knew he was talking to me.
Why, you dirty...
Stop it! Stop it! We've got to keep him alive so he can tell us where to find Mackenzie. Well, what do you know? I knew if you held on to these dice long enough that they'd show up. Snake eyes.